Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Harry Muppet. Welcome to our run-through of the WCS Global Finals for 2014, where we go through one game from every series and all the way up to the grand final. So we're in the round of 16 at the moment. We've just watched Mr. Bomber face off against Jaedong and beat him, which was very, very excellent. That was yesterday. This is today. It is going to be StarDust versus MMA, and the winner is going to be facing Bomber in the quarterfinals, which is going to be awesome. So down the bottom right side of the map, it is Mr. StarDust, 24 years of age from South Korea, not currently belonging to any team. He was part of the NY Insanity team up to the start of January this year. So at the time of the global finals, he was still part of that team. And his opponent up the top left side of the map, none other than Mr. MMA, 26 years of age from South Korea, plays for Team Acer, and he's been part of that team for freaking ages, like 2012. So he's obviously very, very happy with that team, and they're obviously very, very happy with him. So let's go ahead and start checking this game out. Very, very awesome stuff. So we've got this nice expansion up in the little corner over there, which is very, very nice. We've got cross spawns here, so nobody's really got an advantage in terms of any sort of positioning or anything like that. If they were next to each other, then it would suck, because if StarDust was over here, you'd be able to have a lot easier access to MMA's sort of funny expansion, the little expansion over here. I'm not sure if I can call it a natural expansion. I guess it is a natural expansion, but yeah. And if StarDust was down here, then MMA would be able to do tons of drops on the StarDust expansion. So yeah, it's interesting. But we got cross spawn, so it's all even between these guys. Reaper coming in, actually got a kill, managed to kill a probe. The probe must have been like scouting probe or something. Did he manage to grab a scouting probe or something like that? That is freaking awesome. So now he's going in. Oh, there's a stalker there. Oh, the probe actually getting him in the gap. He does get a full scout off, does manage to see the Twilight Council, and that very, very important, because now he knows, man, StarDust has a Twilight Council. What is he thinking? Is it Blink? Is it the dreaded Dark Templar? Is it something else? Not really sure. DTs are a pain in the ass early game for a Terran player, because they've got missile turrets, which they don't usually build until they really need to. They've got scans, which suck because you could be using that energy for building mules. And you've got Ravens, which nobody has early game unless they're playing PvT to counter Banshees. So yeah, it's a terrible bunch of choices for dealing with DTs. So you definitely don't want to have to deal with DTs. And now as you've seen the Twilight Council, what will he do about it? Is he going to do anything about it, or is he just going to assume that it's Blink coming out? He is going for an energy bay. Could be for upgrades, could be for a missile turret. If he built a missile turret here, I would say, you know, well done. That's a nice move. Better to be safe than sorry. And he's going to be moving out with a bunch of these guys. We don't have an army. Oh man, there's so many of these players I've seen going out for like fast Hellbat builds, but I think that's just against Zerg. I'm not sure if it's much of a play against Protoss. Probably not, because early Stalkers, I mean, Hellbats, they're better than Hellions, but that doesn't mean they're any good. Oh, drop here. Nice little two-prong action. Marines coming in, starting to do a bit of damage, but of course the Nexus get overcharged. The Hellions rushing for the expansion just as the workers are rushing out of the expansion. StarDust on the ball like an absolute baller there. Perfect timing on getting his workers out of there. And otherwise the Hellions would have been up here, would have been going nuts. I don't think he had enough for another Nexus overcharge. Did not. So those Hellions would have been going nuts. As it stands, they only got a few workers, whereas they would have been going absolutely ballistic on those guys if they had a chance. So excellent. The timing that StarDust had for getting his workers out of there, out of the expansion, absolutely beautiful. And yeah, for now, just going for the robotics facility, robotics bay, whatever it's called. He's getting 1-1 out of the way. We're going to be seeing some Colossi coming out. He's got a lot of gas coming out as well. The drop coming back down here. The Stalkers hopefully should be enough. They're going for a bunch of workers. There we go. They all get taken out. And I think the medevac lost it as well, which is unfortunate for MMA, because I'm sure he would have liked to have kept that medevac alive a little bit longer. But for now, he's going to be pretty good. Yeah, both players looking pretty good at the moment. We've got a lot of macro coming out for Mr. MMA. He's just going for straight up triple M all over the place. No real Widow Mines. It's not as necessary against Protoss as it is against Zerg because, of course, Widow Mines don't do as much damage. There's not like a ton of small units. It's more the big units you have to worry about. So what he really needs to think about is getting a second starport for Viking production because, yeah, that's going to start to be a problem. Building the command center on the lower ground. You don't usually see this. And there's a very good reason because Stalkers can just roll up and do that. If you build the command center up the top in the main base, it's a lot easier to just finish building it and keeping it alive. The Stalkers, oh man, they blinked while the shots were in midair and they managed to take out the command center. That was the most insane snipe I've ever seen, man. These literally, they shot their blasters, then while the blasters were in midair, while the laser beams were in midair, they blinked away. It's like, how close can you cut it? Really, that's the closest I've ever seen. And if these guys were at like 1 health each, that would have been even more impressive. But, damn, you know, that's still freaking impressive, man. That's beautiful micro. That's like millisecond timing there to get that right. A little bit too soon, and yeah, you don't get the shots off. A little bit too late, and you take all that extra damage from the Terran forces. Managed to get these, a bunch of Zealots into the Warp Prism. That's going to be pretty cool. The Stalkers, what happened to the Stalkers? Did they finally die? I think, no, there's only 2 Stalkers dead, so I think they finally got away. They just ran back up here or something like that. Or maybe 2 of them died and the rest. Oh, there's a DT up here. So we did get a Dark Shrine after all. The DT going nuts. Missile turret all the way out the front of the base. Oh, look at this beautiful play from MMA, man. Did you see that? He shot the DT, or he shot the Zealot, and then he ran his Marine down, and the DT started chasing the Marine, and he was trying to lead him towards the missile turret. At the last second, though, StarDust did pull his Zealot away. Now he's killing everything that's building the missile turret. Missile turret about to go down. He's going to be forced to use a scan here. He's already forced to use one for the DT on the other side. And now the workers are going to start going down. He's got 11 kills, 12 kills. He's going absolutely ballistic. And look at this kills limit right now. That's 16 workers that just went down for a total of 17 income-wise. 39 under 56. MMA needs to make something happen. He needs to make something happen very, very soon. Otherwise, he is going to be in a crappy situation for the rest of the game. And, I mean, he's not seriously behind. I think he can recover. But the thing is, how much army will StarDust get while he's got that income advantage? And the answer is enough to even him out, because MMA is actually way in front in terms of the army size. So it's not so much that StarDust is ahead, it's more that he needed to kill that many workers to get back into the game, because this amount of army was just absolutely nuts. A visible lack of Vikings for the main army though, but he's got a ton of Marauders, which should negate the Colossus damage somewhat. But when you start getting up to the 4 or 5 Colossus numbers, it starts to matter less and less whether you got Marauders or Marines, because the Marauders still go down after a decent amount of Colossus hits. And yeah, there are a decent amount of Colossus out there. Not so many ground units, on the other hand, though. Definitely needs to pump those up a little bit. Maybe get some Zealots out there to start soaking up Marauder hits. He's starting to get out some, but he hasn't got as many as I would like him to have. There they go. The Colossus starting to take some damage there. Starting to get some hits out there. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And he's still had to cancel that, which is very, very unfortunate, because if MMA can sort of keep StarDust on 2 bases for any amount of minutes, then that really is going to be what MMA needs to do to get back into the macro side of this game. And he's already got back into the macro side. He's pushed up. He's got 56 workers. He's stopped that 3rd base from going down. StarDust is going to go at it again. If MMA can shut it down again, then that is going to be huge. I keep seeing this bloody thing on the medevacs. Are we highlighting when medevacs are boosting now? Is that the deal? Like if a medevac uses this boost, then it's highlighted, like if you see a nuke or something like that? Or a Nidus worm? I don't know, that's crazy. Oh, look at this, man. StarDust going in there. And half of the army is over there. Well, not half of the army, but a fair amount. And here we go. Stimming, running away, and then jumping back to snipe the Zealots when the Colossus are out of range is not a bad play. Oh, forces the cancel once again. StarDust wanted to go out there, wanted to get those guys. Oh, What the hell? Is that a Stalker? It looks like a mini Colossus, but I think there was a Stalker there. It's funny how the Stalkers look like mini Colossi, but you don't realize how much they look like it until they actually die. But they definitely look like mini Colossi. That's awesome. If only they had the same attack as the Colossus, that would be freaking insane. But MMA is all over the proper method of dealing with the Colossi right now. He is going to be... What is he going to be doing? He's going to be getting a ton of Vikings. He's got the second starport, pumping out Vikings ASAP, getting a ton of them. He's got 6 at the moment. He will be getting more. And meanwhile, StarDust is slowly but surely taking over the map, making himself known around here. He's saying, I'm in charge, and there's nothing you can do about it. MMA does have a nice macro advantage though, 11 workers. He's been getting up a ton of forces here. His army is a little bit ahead, not a lot, but I have a feeling he's going to cap out very, very soon. And he's going to be looking good. And if he's got enough Vikings, getting ghosts out as well, which is beautiful because there is a Templar Archives on the way. So both players just going through the standard sort of play style here, going for the tier 3 counters to everything. And yeah, it's going to be very, very awesome. So yeah, we'll just have to see what it comes down to, because I think it's going to come down to the Vikings. And I think it's interesting the way that they've basically, whenever a medevac's boost, it gets highlighted on the map for everybody to see. It's an interesting decision to do that. And you know what? I think it's alright, because you can still go slow the entire way and just sort of sneak up and then burst at the last second when it's too late for the Protoss to do anything. And I mean, when you think about it, a boosting medevac is kind of like a Nidus worm anyway, and they sort of pop open the Nidus worms, so they don't illustrate their position on the map, but they do say, oh my god, there's something happening here. I'm not sure exactly how it sort of shows up for StarDust when that happens, but here we go. There's the main engagement. A lot of workers coming down, so MMA obviously moving out with workers, but it may be worth it. All the Colossi are going down. The Vikings are getting owned by the Stalkers, however. But they are able to take out the rest of the Colossi. The Stalkers getting the hell out of there. Lost a lot of workers with that attack, using them out as meat shields. But in the end, his army size is still ahead. StarDust is going to have to come back nice and fast. He's got the High Templar coming out. No Storm on the way though, so it's going to be all Archons. And Archons, I don't think are going to make a difference at this point in the game. This Triple M army is just too meaty. There's too many Marauders. And they're just going to go in. They're going to start owning everything. I think we do have a Ghost in there. Not enough energy for an EMP. Probably used it in the last battle, but should be enough. He sees all the Archons. He's going to go in regardless, and I think he's going to have it here. I don't know that StarDust can really do anything. Do we have a Mothership core? We do not. So we're not even going to be seeing a Nexus Overcharge, which is one of the few things which I think would maybe turn this around, is a nice Nexus Overcharge. And here we go, going in there, sniping a bunch of stuff, going in with the main army as well. The Archon's sort of like a bit confused. Should I go for the Nexus? Should I go for the Natural? Should I go for the army? And they're sort of getting split up, and as a result, 2 of them just sort of ran into the army looking lost and got owned pretty quickly. But StarDust starting to turn it around. I think he may have this force covered, sort of. The Archons are going down, but the rest of the Triple M army is running away. However, they don't have the rest of the forces over there, and I think that MMA, I don't know. It's kind of reset a little bit. I thought MMA was way behind, but StarDust has done an exceptional job at pulling back, and those Archons still doing a pretty good job. Here we go, 3 Archons coming up there, and MMA is starting to have a little bit of problems dealing with these guys. The Vikings getting in here. The reinforcements constantly coming in from StarDust, slowly pushing MMA back. Is MMA going to be able to deal with all this? I'm not sure. So far, he's been doing okay, but he's got back all the way to his 3rd base. That's not good. He's pulling workers off the line. That's not good. He's lost all his Vikings on the ground, and now there is a Colossus, and that's not good. But he's finally turning around, finally starting to take off actual units, finally starting to turn things around just a little bit. And that is definitely good for Mr. MMA. And his macro still intact. He's losing so many workers, but he's been building so many workers in between. He can afford to lose them in this sort of manner. And yeah, StarDust has got the 3rd base back up. It's fully mining. Army-wise, we've still got a bit of an advantage for MMA, but that's not a huge advantage. I think StarDust can bulk that up very, very quickly. We got 3-3 with 2 shields on the way. We got 3-3 for these guys. StarDust has given the GG right there, and I don't know. I thought he was close enough to be able to do something. He'd been doing something for a while yet, but I guess in terms of the gameplay, in terms of the series, sorry, we can maybe say something about this, but the fact is that at this point in the series, StarDust was 1-0, and MMA came back, obviously won this game, took it to 1-1, and then after that he won 2 more games. So StarDust probably regretted GGing this game at the end of the series, but at this point he was 1 game up and he thought, yeah, this game, you know, it's too much of a pain, I'm not all that good at the moment. And yeah, just obviously thought like maybe just pass it over for another game, because he probably wasn't going to win this game and it was just going to drag out. But anyway, that was an excellently played game against MMA, against former MMA, or for both players. So excellent job there. And that has been your game for today. So tomorrow we will be checking out the next set. Is going to be MC versus Hero. Hero with the lowercase h, because there are 2 of them, so it's Mr. Hero. And yeah, Bomber will now be facing MMA in the quarterfinals. So nice TVT. Should be awesome to see that when we get around to it. But MC versus Hero tomorrow should be awesome. Stay tuned for that, and I will catch you guys tomorrow with that game. Stay tuned.